Did you know that Irish LGBTQIA+ groups were forbidden from marching in New York City's St. Patrick's Day Parade under their own banners from 1992 until 2015? Welcome back to Yesterqueers. My name's Amanda, and I'm a public historian of queer history. The New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade is the oldest and largest celebration of Irish heritage in the world outside of Ireland. The first parade was held in 1762. The two key things you need to know about the parade for the purposes of this video are that it has always, for the last 263 years, marched past St. Patrick's Cathedral, and the parade used to be organized by a group called the Ancient Order of Hibernians, who claimed that the parade was a religious celebration and not a secular one. That'll be important later. This is John Cardinal O'Connor. Sorry for the jump scare, Gen Xers. He was the Archbishop of New York City from 1984 until his death in 2000, and he was a lightning rod for the queer community. Because although he did open a special unit at St. Clair's Hospital for the treatment of patients with AIDS, he was enthusiastic in his condemnation of homosexuality, and more importantly, he was staunchly opposed to the distribution of condoms and clean needles to help curb the spread of AIDS. Queer activists were virtually apoplectic when President Ronald Reagan appointed Cardinal O'Connor to his HIV commission in 1987. Tensions finally boiled over in New York City on December 10, 1989, when ACT UP, working in collaboration with Wham, not the band, organized a massive protest at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Around 5,000 people showed up outside, and dozens of protesters disrupted the mass inside, chaining themselves to pews, laying down in the aisles, and shouting that they would not be silent in the face of O'Connor's bigotry. By the end of the day, 111 people had been arrested. This is the protest that brought national attention to ACT UP's work, and it remains the largest protest against the Catholic Church in American history. So, by the time applications rolled around for the 1991 St. Patrick's Day Parade in October of 1990, emotions were still running pretty high. New York's Irish lesbian and gay organization asked to march, but were denied, which understandably caused an uproar in the queer community and got the mayor's office involved. Eventually, the ILGO was allowed to march once Mayor David Dinkins offered to march with them. They were booed, shouted down with obscenities, and doused with beer, an experience that Mayor Dinkins likened to marching in Birmingham during the Civil Rights Movement. The ILGO was banned from the parade in 1992 because of their outrageous behavior and conduct. Parade organizers claimed that members of the ILGO had made obscene anti-Catholic gestures outside the cathedral, while the ILGO said that they had not done that and that the obscene gestures and shouted obscenities had come from people protesting their inclusion. The New York City Human Rights Commission mandated that they had to be included. Organizers doubled down on their position that the parade is a religious celebration and not a secular one, so they could do what they want. The ILGO sued the organizers. A federal court ruled against the ILGO, overturning the New York City Human Rights Commission's mandate, so the ILGO was banned from the parade, and Mayor David Dinkins became the first New York City mayor to boycott the St. Patrick's Day Parade since 1923. Next year, the Massachusetts Supreme Court ruled that the Boston St. Patrick's Day Parade couldn't discriminate based on sexual orientation. But the U.S. Supreme Court overturned that in 1995's Hurley v. Irish American Gay, Lesbian, and Bisexual Group of Boston, when they ruled that it was a private event and therefore organizers had a First Amendment right to freedom of association. That meant that organizers in New York and Boston were legally entitled to ban queer Irish groups from marching, but they couldn't keep them from protesting. The ILGO, along with an organization called the Lavender and Green Alliance, founded in 1994 by an activist named Brendan Fay, protested their exclusion from the St. Patrick's Day Parade for decades. In 2000, Lavender and Green also started their own parade called St. Pat's for All in Queens. A few years after that, the tide finally started to turn for the main parade. In 2006, Christine Quinn, who was then the Speaker of the New York City Council, said that she would boycott the parade because she would not be allowed to wear a pride pin or sash. In 2010, the President of Ireland declined to be the Grand Marshal of the 250th anniversary parade, likely because of its anti-gay policies. And in 2014, Mayor Bill de Blasio and the New York City Council boycotted the parade entirely and marched in the St. Pat's Parade for All instead. Guinness also withdrew its sponsorship from the main parade that year. Decades of pressure from activists and politicians, plus the loss of a major sponsor, eventually forced parade organizers to reconsider their position on queer Irish groups marching. In 2015, an LGBTQIA+ employee group from NBC Universal, the parade's broadcast partner, was allowed to march. And finally, in 2016, Brendan Fay and the Lavender and Green Alliance were allowed to march in the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade under their own banner. Mayor Bill de Blasio and his wife Charlene joined them. That's it for today. As always, more information, including sources and further reading, is available in the usual place.